Hi everybody, welcome along to the weekly Harness Racing New South Wales CEO blog. There's only one man that'd join us for that, John Dummersney. G'day.
How are you, Mark?
Very well, thank you. Nice to be joining you for the blog this week. Got a lot to cover. We're going to start with the information sessions, which have been travelling around the state.
Yeah, Rod Smith, Chairman, Adam Fairley and myself have had a busy week last week. We were in Newcastle, Bathurst, Menangle and Wagga, and of course we'll move on tonight to Goulburn. But what came out of those initial meetings was a real strong consensus of the tweaking we need to do with our programming here in New South Wales to satisfy our participants, our stakeholders. So that has actually occurred. Now, if we hear more from Goulburn tonight, or if we learn a little bit different from Tamworth when we get there next week or the week after, we will certainly accommodate that. What is important though, Mark, is that some of these things we can't accommodate. They're part of the national rating system, and they have to go to the rating review team, gain support there, and move on to Harness Racing Australia executive.
Rightio, so tonight, Thursday in Goulburn, for those that want to go.
Mm-hmm.
What time we're at?
6:30 at the track. So Mark Roato's doing a great job down there, organising everything. So it's at the track, 6:30. There'll be plenty of cars there, so just follow your nose as to which room it's actually in. I must say, Riverina, congratulations to the participants down there. Huge numbers at Riverina Paceway, filled the room actually, and they were a group of people who certainly knew where they wanted to be, and they had a pre-meeting amongst some of the participants. But, you know, the meeting went so well, the consensus was already there, and I believe we've delivered in every aspect that we can possibly deliver to this stage.
Mark, being a police officer, we'll have this meeting running like clockwork.
Yes, that's right.
And don't speed through Goulburn if you're heading down there.
No.
Rightio, Tamworth, you said the next week or two, those details still being finalised?
Yes, it's a matter of fitting them in. We've been busy on other projects, subjects, topics for the last week, but we will get to Tamworth. It works very well in Tamworth. We see that with the fields week in, week out. 10 race programs, big fields. As I said, what we've tweaked already with the programming, which commences on November 1, may well satisfy the greater majority.
Have they suggested building a wall to stop the Wiedemans coming south?
No, we're not into that. It's about creating competition, and competition engenders better performance.
Rightio, some good news from the sport. Ryan Sanderson kicked off his driving career with his first win. Well,
not his first win, Mark. His first win at Menangle Park, right, at the Premier track. Make Way was the horse, and Make Way Ryan certainly did, and there's a big future there. He drove that horse outside the stable for Sonia Smith, so Ryan is like so many. Every week we can talk about a young driver making his way in this fabulous sport.
The amount of juniors coming through, I guess coming back from New Zealand, the amount of juniors and the amount being utilised in the new rating system, that must be pleasing for you guys looking for the future of the sport too.
Well, it is very pleasing, and it's great to see that the trainers are utilising them. Yes, there's an advantage through rating point drops, but still these are really good young people who have a bright future in this industry.
An update on Matt Day.
Yeah, Matty Day, he has been moved out of ICU, still not in a terribly good way, but he's moving his limbs. He is acknowledging his family when they visit. So, you know, our prayers and hopes go out for Matty for a full recovery.
Another character of the sport, Dennis Wilson, is also hospitalised at the moment.
Yeah, Dennis has finally gone in for a knee replacement. He had a hip replacement a year ago, and as you say, characters, he's always got a joke, and we wish Dennis well and a speedy recovery and out of hospital as soon as possible.
What sort of patient do you reckon Dennis would be?
I think he'd be the perfect patient because he would have everyone upbeat.
Absolutely. Some sad news, a very well-known name in just about every facet of the industry has passed away recently.
Yeah, Alan Eaton, and for people who don't know Alan Eaton out there in our industry, Alan was an administrator. He was connected very much with Parramatta Livestock and George Aiken. He was an owner, he was a breeder. I believe he was a trainer and driver, but in your world, he was also a race caller. I can remember many times hearing him, certainly at trials and gymkhanas, but to the family of Alan Eaton, our condolences on behalf of the entire industry.
Yeah, he was a good guy, Alan, and sad news to hear that he's passed away in the last week or two as well. Now, it's been a tough week for the racing industry. We have to touch on it. The 7:30 report, we won't go too depth into that, but what has come out of it from Harness Racing New South Wales' point of view?
Oh, well, from Harness Racing New South Wales, or the entire industry's point of view, there is an awakening. We do things contrary to what people may think. Whether we do them perfectly or right through to the end, that is to be examined. And it's a national issue. It's not just New South Wales, Queensland. It's a national issue. What we will be doing, we will be convening with on a national basis with all the state bodies. Very shortly, as part of our annual general meeting, there's a session that has been expanded in length on equine welfare. We always discuss equine welfare when we get together, but this one will have a specific focus to see where we can improve. Now, anybody that thinks that they can't improve has a little bit backward in their thinking, but we have processes in place. We have some very good people out in the sport that rehome horses, and of course we know that some of these horses can't be rehomed for particular reasons, but the one thing, animal cruelty will not be tolerated in this sport. We believe we have a good record of prosecution where it's made aware to us, and now that other areas have been made aware to us, we will certainly push that further.
Is that the biggest issue with Harness Racing New South Wales currently being undertaken since that report? I know there's plenty going on in the building, but is that number one at this stage?
Well, I won't say since that report. We were already working with HIRIC, that's the industry consultation group, represented by each of the kindred bodies. It's legislated. We were working with them and have been working with them diligently towards all sorts of solutions for the retraining of horses. But we must remember, we consult. You know, we're not draconian. We are the regulator, but we're not that draconian that we just go in and make decisions. We have to look at what is in the best interest of all concerned, but first and foremost and primarily, we will look at what is the right way to treat our horses, which we breed and race, in a humane manner going forward, during their racing careers and going forward.
John, pleasure as always. Thanks for the weekly blog, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you, Mark.